Or I don't know if she's doing that thing that people do nowadays where like they purposely misunderstand why people are upset with them and they just it's like Bill Burr did it recently, right? Bill Burr went to do that comedy comedy fucking festival in Saudi Arabia. Everybody obviously called him out for what he did and essentially calling it, you know, comedy whitewashing, and called out especially Bill Burr because he's had a lot of strong opinions when it comes to other people and what they do, and being very anti, you know, I guess billionaire, anti-corruption, whatever. He's been, you know, been very vocal politic wise. So people were kind of surprised that Bill Burr would take that gig. And then Bill Burr, when he kind of met with that kind of, you know, displeasure from his fans, he decided to label all these fans, or he decided to label people who didn't agree with the fact that he went and performed at the Riyadh Comedy Festival as bots. He called everybody that disagreed with him as bots, as basically being paid agitators or something. He basically said there's no way anybody could have a genuine concern or could genuinely be not a fan of what he did, and you read it all off as that. That's a common thing. It's not just a Bill Burr thing. It's common. You see online with people, they don't really have an ability to maybe internalize not the right way. They don't have an ability, or they refuse to acknowledge or to even understand why somebody wouldn't be a fan of what they said, did, or whatever else it may be. So they purposely try and categorize you as a hater, as a troll, as a bot or something. And I wonder if she's doing the same thing, this Jasleen girl. I wonder if she's doing the same thing where she's purposely misunderstanding that people are criticizing her for what she's saying. And I think from what I've been hearing online, most of the criticism has been, hey, you're embarrassing your husband. Most of it has been that. Like, I don't really think people have that much of a problem with her maybe being sexually active before they got in a relationship, and the fact that, you know, Akaash maybe believed that she was a virgin when maybe she's giving off the signs that she wasn't. I don't think people have that much of an issue with that. I think most people just have an issue with the fact that she's, like, in a way emasculating her husband online. You know, it kind of looks a bit mad. You know, it's sort of like if you were with your friend, and, you know, if you're out with your friend and his wife, and she just started, you know, ripping into him, you would be a little bit, you know, you want to move away. I mean, you'd be like, oh, it's a bit, maybe feel uncomfortable, it's a bit weird, a bit strange. I think that's what most people's concern has been, or most people's pushback has been. But Akaash Singh's wife doesn't really seem to understand that. And her response kind of tells you that as well. She doesn't really get why people are upset with her, which, you know, is her prerogative, I guess.
Really quick, because obviously my name keeps getting brought up by either women or men. Lately, it's these red pill guys, because I said my money, or what did I say? His money is our money, and my money is my money, which is a common saying, whatever. I'm not even gonna elaborate because I don't fucking care to explain myself to them. But what I will say is, if you're not gonna be a man for fucking women, like if you're gonna say, oh, women should do this for us and we're the prize and blah, 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 at least be a man for yourselves. And what I mean by that is, so I just watched Don't Worry, Darling, finally on Netflix. It's like that movie from 2 or 3 years ago that everyone was talking about. Spoiler alert. But basically, these men live in this like virtual reality simulation where everything is perfect. They go to work, their wives clean on them, wait for them. You know, they're like, the wives are basically dependent on their men, like 50s aesthetic, but like the dark side. At the end, you find out that these women never consented to be in this like virtual reality thing. And like when the women start glitching is when the memories of their real life start coming back. And there's this one scene where Chris Pine, the person who orchestrates this whole like utopic town or whatever, he tells Harry Styles to dance for him. And Harry Styles dances for him like a little monkey. That's what I feel like you guys are doing. Whether it's Andrew Tate or these fucking red pill podcast guys, like when they tell you something, when they ask you to jump, you say how high. You're still not a man either way. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you're still a little bitch, beta boy doing whatever these fucking men tell you. Why are you mad at us? Why are you mad if me and my husband are cool with each other, if we both make jokes at each other's expense? The difference is my husband will go on stage and say whatever the fuck he wants about me. No one has anything to say. It's like, oh my God, it's so funny, it's so relatable. But then I come on TikTok and I make jokes, and now you have a fucking problem?
That's a good point.
Because I don't have a mic in my hand?
That's a good point.
Like, make it make sense. I'm not here for the fucking misogyny. One thing that I will say, being canceled by this, like, people doesn't affect me as much because I genuinely don't respect them. I'm just like, okay, like, talk about me all you want, drive traffic to my page. Our YouTube video, our podcast episode that me and Nahal did got 37,000 views, which for us is really fucking high because we're just starting out. So I'm like, okay, keep driving traffic. I'm not even gonna read any of the comments. So it's like, what are you doing this for? Like, there's no way you can be happy. Like, you cannot be happy just doing this. And I feel like if you honestly just try to find God, worked on yourself, went to therapy, you would feel so much better than what these like little cockroaches and parasites try to tell you. Honestly, that's like my honest feedback. Okay.
Now, I'm still confused by what she means when she says the point of like, when all these like manosphere Andrew Tate guys tell you to jump, you jump, and she used that analogy of that movie that Harry Styles is in. I don't really know what she was trying to get at. Is she trying to say that the only reason why people are upset with her or are criticizing her online is because they heard some like manosphere guy say something and then they're repeating it? Is that what she's saying? Is that what she's trying to say? Like you, and then she made that point before at the beginning that, if you're not gonna be there, you like at least be there for at least be a man for your wives. Like, huh? Because you guys want to be the breadwinner, you want to be this, your wife has to be that. So I guess she's trying to say, hey, if you want to be the breadwinner and whatever, you have to let the woman say. I don't know. I don't really understand what she's saying. The good point that she made though towards the end was what I made earlier in the previous episode of the pod. I did say the previous episode of the pod that although a lot of people disagreed with me in the comments and in the chat, I did say previously that I think a lot of the reason why she's getting the stick that she's getting is, number one, the tone of her voice. She sounds, she's got a very annoying, I think it's all about delivery, unfortunately, these days. I think her tone of her voice is very grating and annoying. She has a very weird, it's almost like a very red scare. It's almost like a very red scare girl type of a thing going on with her voice. I'm not too sure what the fuck that is, right? She has a very annoying way of speaking. I think she looks a lot older than what she's acting like. She's doing this whole like young Gen Z kind of like aloof type of thing, but she's not that young. She's like in her 30s and shit. So I think that comes across a bit weird. And then I generally think she's not funny. Like, that's the problem. I don't think it's coming across that she's trying to be funny, because she made a good point at the end, towards the end, where she said, oh, Akaash can go on stage and he can make all these jokes about me at my expense, but then the moment I do it on my social media, everyone gets up in arms. That's actually a really good point. She actually made a good point, because I think a lot of the stuff that she's saying, she's trying to be funny, it's just not coming across funny. She's got a bit of a mean cadence, a little bit of a mean undertone, a little bit of a mean, sprinkling of the salt on there on top. It doesn't sound like she's being jokey. So I think that's her main problem. Her delivery, the way she looks, the fact that she's older than what she sounds, her voice, and the fact that she's not being funny. I think that might be the main point. It's not very funny. She's just coming across like a bit of a bitch. She's coming across like an absolute nightmare, that's her main issue. But I don't understand all this whole like, oh, the man is fit, like what? But again, I think this is a common thing nowadays. I think people purposely misunderstand why people don't like them. But then it creates like a never-ending cycle. People then criticize what you're doing. You then try and act like you're not bothered. Also, keep repeating that then what they're saying doesn't mean anything to you, and they don't understand. And you try and like dismiss what they're saying as hate. They then want to get through to you as clearly as possible, but then you refuse to listen. It just creates but I guess maybe she kind of wants that. But then I also think she's maybe overestimating this like attention thing. I think nowadays on social, you have to be you have to have a little bit of likability about you. You can't be all the way unlikable. And the problem that she's gonna face, I think anyway, she doesn't seem like what people would deem to be a girl's girl. Because, she was talking openly about wanting to fuck her best friend's man and talking about how much she likes him and fantasizing about what his dick looks like and how thick it is and all this shit. I don't think that's a girl's girl thing. Personally, I wouldn't think girls would be that comfortable with a friend like this, right? That's talking openly about wanting to fuck your boyfriend or husband. So she's not a girl's girl. And obviously the lads aren't fans of her, So I think she's like not being liked by the men and the women is an issue. you have to have at least one of the genders like you. You know, you have to have at least one gender has to like you across the way for you to kind of survive. You can't just have everyone hate you across the board, especially as a new person. Like, she's just coming out the gate like unlikable. Like, you have to have at least some, you know what I mean? You have to have at least a good quality. Like, if she came into the game being the girl that everyone likes because she dresses well, or because she's really good at home decor, or because she has really interesting opinions about marriage within the Muslim Indian culture, I don't know, something on that kind of line, that's cool. But she came out of the gate being annoying. She came out of the gate being a nightmare. She came out of the gate being a BTICH. I think she's overestimating this attention thing. I think quite quickly people are gonna, you know, stop paying attention to you because you get on their nerves, and they're gonna go out of their way to try and make sure that you know they don't want to listen to you anymore, you know. So I think she's kind of overcooking this whole thing. But hey man, if Jasleen thinks that's the right way to go about doing things, then I guess that's the right way about doing things. There's another post here where she talks about, what's it, cancellation? What's this about?
You didn't,
here we go.
no, we had our first cancellation.
How do we feel about it?
I feel like it was overdue.
How many comments have they deleted? Mad comments got deleted, isn't it? Holy shit. Is there only 2 comments? No way can there be 2 comments. There's only 2 comments and they've all been 87 likes. Wow. 256 likes, by the way. That tells you everything, right? I don't know what this means, by the way. This GIF. I don't know what this GIF means of the cars on a motor. I don't really get that. I don't really understand what this means. But yeah, the lack of comments is interesting. It means they probably deleted a bunch.
To be honest,
I think the worst part of the cancellation is when they said we have bad taste.
yeah, that was the worst part, because I worked so hard to like find my husband's credit card every time I go shopping, and I try to make sure the Miu Miu logo's prominent. I at least have like an elevated basic bitch taste.
You did post a video the other day saying like Chanel earrings are out and everything that I wear is fucking out. So I personally think you have bad taste.
I was like, why don't you at me?
Everything in my closet, she literally listed out in that video. You're a certified hater.
Okay, I stand by the Van Cleef and the Chanel logo earrings, but like the glittery one.
Yeah, I was gonna wear those for my birthday dinner tomorrow. I think
you have those exact ones? Oh my god. What? If you didn't know, we had our first cancel.
Yeah, man. I think we've all had known boys that have had sisters like this. Like, it's just annoying, isn't it? Like, she's just annoying. It's not even her fault. I just don't think it's her fault. I just think that's her personality. She's just an absolute nightmare. You know, I think we've all known a fair share of our friends who've had sisters like this, you know, or we've all known a friend, you know, like, it is what it is. She's just kind of annoying, but I really do think she's overestimating this hate thing, you know, and kind of, you know, using it to kind of fuel this podcast stuff that she's doing at the moment. Because I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the way to go about doing things. I guess let's just check out one more. Get ready with me to go Darbar Sahib. Let's see what this is about.
Good morning. Get ready with us to go to Darbar Sahib. It is the holiest Sikh temple in Amritsar. I have been a few times before. Akaash has never been. I just want to do like light makeup because it's not really about my makeup, but more just like about my spirituality and seeing this really divine place. Okay, so growing up, we grew up.
Basically, the worst people you know are super spiritual, by the way. No? She's kind of, I guess she's religious or spiritual, but she has that type of personality. I find that really interesting, to be fair. She has a kind of personality where she's like embarrassing her husband online. She's basically creating a very, I guess, unlikable version. She's creating a very unlikable narrative about herself out there. She's making people write a lot of op-eds and comments about how much they dislike her and video clips and shit. I find that interesting.
The Punjabi Sikh, obviously, but my mom always like really made the effort to take us to Gurdwara every Sunday and Sikh camp every summer. And I wouldn't say I was like the most like cooperative child, but now looking back, I'm so grateful that she invested these teachings in us, because my spirituality has taught me so much about just how to like operate in this world, and like how giving back is like the most important and like rewarding thing that you can ever do.
Everyone criticizes me as a cockroach, but yeah, all right, cool.
For me, like my mom is like my spiritual anchor. Like if I ever feel like lost in the world, like I need to like just talk to her and like realign and refocus on like what my values are. I think my mom also like went through a lot of trauma in her life, so for her it was like almost like if she didn't have spirituality, like she wouldn't be here. And like she said that to me because it's like really like kept her sane. I think like the one difference though between me and my mom is like spirituality has been such a life raft for her, but I feel like it's really been her answer to everything, versus like with me and like with my anxiety and OCD, like I feel like meditation and spirituality is such a good complement and adjunct, but it doesn't like replace the work of like therapy and like medication and like all that.
I don't know, man. I've long proposed the idea, and I think I've sometimes been laughed out of my social groups for this. I really have been laughed out of my social groups and mocked, because whenever people bring up the topic of like, oh yeah, what's your type? What's your type? I would always say things like, I don't really have one. I'm mostly a personality guy. Like I'm really big on like getting along with somebody, on somebody having, you know, generally the kind of things you're kind of looking for in terms of a personality, in terms of maybe being honest, honorable, stand up, loyal, dependable, trustworthy, whatever that thing is, right? But just kind of getting along and not being annoying. It's that common, like, what was that fucking phrase that was uttered in startup world when it comes to employing people? It's like, don't be a dickhead, right? I think it's a Google thing, right? But don't be a dick. And I think that's really important. I think people maybe put too much nowadays anyway. I think maybe because a lot of people, maybe because of social media as well, maybe that's a problem. Maybe because of social media, you kind of wanna, because everyone's obsessed with presenting themselves a certain way online, there's this need, it feels like, to also present a certain version of your relationship online too, or just represent relationship online in general. And if that's the case, you're going to want a girl that's somewhat aesthetically pleasing if you're going to have her on social. And maybe the same goes for the other gender, same genders, whatever. You're going to want whoever you're with to be hot because you're putting it all on social. So because your first thing is about how hot is this person, you then maybe put by the wayside, or maybe don't consider too much their personality and how they are as a person. You know, their values, their character, all this shit. You don't really consider it because you're mostly thinking about the looks. And maybe that's a problem that we're running into nowadays. Everyone's just concerned about, hey, I want to make sure when I post my person that we get the most likes, that I get a lot of praise, that I get a lot of fucking comments, engagement, because they look a certain way, as opposed to, hey, is this person gonna be a good mum? Is this person a good wife? Is this person a good partner to kind of, you know, run through life with? Is this person whatever? No one's really, you don't really hear people talking about that. It's mostly to attraction. Oh, 6 foot this, does she have boobs, does she have a bum? There's like, it's just like, this is what happens though when you look for those type of things. You know, you look for those type of things and you end up with somebody that, you know, is probably going to drive you crazy until you're old and gray, you know, not in a good way too, just in a purely annoying way. And I'm just thankful I've never been in that position. I'm just thankful that I've never ever been in that position. But big up, you know, Akaash Singh, big up Jasleen Singh. Hopefully they work it out.